We've been shafted. That was the less than complimentary verdict of the Conservative leader, Kevin Badenoch, on the Prime Minister's trade deal with President Trump. Fair to say, Sir Keir Starmer didn't agree, describing the agreement as historic, insisting it delivers for British business and British workers. And Mr Trump appeared equally pleased with the outcome of their negotiations.
The US and UK have been working for years to try and make a deal, and it never quite got there. It did with this Prime Minister. So I want to just congratulate you.
Well, with this President, this Prime Minister, we've managed to achieve what many people have tried to achieve for many years.
Lesley Batchelor is an expert in global trade and a former Director General at the Institute of Export and International Trade. Morning, Lesley.
Morning.
Is this as glowing as we're hearing there in that phone call?
Yes, it's positive in that at least we're talking and at least we're reducing some things. I think, the most important thing to remember is the US is Scotland's second largest exporter behind the EU. And it doesn't matter what we're doing at the moment. If you look at the statistics, anything that's going on to non-EU countries is still not really increasing our sales in the same way as the EU did. So it's very difficult. Yes, it's exciting, apart from the fact it keeps some sort of parameters around what he's doing and a little bit more of an understanding. And I think it's better to be in the tent in this situation.
And it is still targeted and specific, isn't it? There's certain areas it covers and certain areas it doesn't.
Yes, I mean, it's quite interesting what they're doing with beef. And of course, you sell a lot of beef, but you sell it to the EU because it's good quality beef. And the Americans tend to buy the low value cuts from us. And I think that's quite an important one. But what he's done, it's a quota he's putting, and he's put a quota, which means you can only sell a limited number of these things. So for the beef for the whole of the UK, he's put 13,000 metric tons on it. But in actual fact, we've only ever sold 2,000. So that sounds good because there's an element of growth there that we can make, but actually what it also means is that he can sell 13,000 metric tons to us. Whether we want his beef or not is probably another issue altogether.
Yeah, and we had comments from the Trade Secretary Jonathan Reynolds on speaking to the BBC last night, saying that the car industry was on the brink of thousands potentially of job losses before this agreement. And it strikes me to be in that position and to be relying on this agreement seems to be quite a precarious position to be in the first place.
Well, yes, but I mean, I think we all accept that this has been quite a shock, the way he's actually implemented this program of what did he call it, liberation, I think he called it, and of course that has sent everybody into a spin. Businesses, we've been in a world recession for quite some time and we're all struggling. We're not making huge margins on products any longer. 10% is quite a good margin to be making, and if it's all eaten up by a tariff, then obviously that means your prices have to go up, and that forces it on to everybody else around the world. Having said that, of course we are, and it's quite clear that the government is looking for new markets for us to engage with. Don't forget we've had the CPTPP agreement, which is really good in terms of the food and drink and whiskey. There are some good things, and of course the great thing is he hasn't interfered with our food standards, so we haven't been compromised in that. And the great thing is she didn't give up on the 2% in the digital services tax, which creates a huge amount of money and also sets a precedence for actually taxing these great giants who actually make money in our country but actually pay no taxes or contribute in any way to the countries.
It's interesting. A lot of the talk has been that this is the kind of beginning of a deal, really. Although there was a much fanfare about it yesterday. How likely is it that it will withstand in its current form, Lesley?
Well, honestly, who can say? I think the only thing I can say is we've got to realise that normally a free trade agreement would have things about services in there. We'd have negotiated around defence, pharmaceuticals, more about agriculture than we have done so far, and chemicals. So those are the sort of the key areas that you tend to. I think the services and the digital taxes and all this sort of stuff. These are new things that we weren't really ready for when they came about, which is why we're still on a bit of a catch up with that. But, we have got mutual recognition to think about as well of our qualifications too. So, it does this is why trade deals normally take a long time and should take a long time, because you should consider things, because if you concede on one point, then you've got to make sure you've got some gains somewhere else.
Lesley, thank you for your time this morning. That's Lesley Batchelor, an expert in global trade, also former Director General at the Institute of Export and International Trade.